Welcome to episode 3 of CineMinistry. I am Brennan.
I'm Josh.
And I'm Chad.
Let's talk about what we've been watching or listening to this past week. Myself, I actually, with all the Epstein stuff in the news, I was actually going to go back and watch True Detective season 1. And as I started watching it, I mentioned that to someone at work, and they recommended that I give season 3 a try and I'd seen season 1 a few times, so I was like, I trust his recommendations. So I started season 3 of True Detective. I'm on episode. I just ended episode 2, so I'm about to start episode 3. I'm enjoying it. I think I still don't think it's episode 1, but I think or season 1, but I think it's hard to compare that to anything to that season 1. I think it was so captivating. For me, it was one of McConaughey's first real breakout roles. In terms of like more serious acting.
That you've seen, or like his career? Because I don't think that lines up.
Well, I think it was one of them. I think it was, for me, it was one that I had seen.
Okay.
It seemed like it did seem more like in his career that he maybe not say that's when it happened. That's just maybe when I noticed it, that his shift went from doing more of the I guess what you'd call it, the chick flicks to he was doing, what was that one movie he was in? The one he was in a lot of Kate Hudson, type movies. I'm not saying
rom-coms.
I'm not saying anything bad about it. They're good movies. But I mean, like when he switched up to like, oh shit, he's a much better actor than I was giving him credit for. And like I said, I saw this when I was in it was like 2013. I was watching this when it came out. But no, like I said, I enjoy that. I'm enjoying this season 3. I enjoyed season 1. I want to give season 2 and 4 another. I didn't try season 4 yet, but I want to give season 2 another try. Sometimes you just need to, I don't know. Sometimes I give up on it a little too soon. Sometimes I can't. Especially with an anthology, you can't compare. It's hard not to, but you can't compare them. But anyway, that's what I've been checking out.
Yeah, I can't fully come. I've never actually watched True Detective. Which is crazy because I love McConaughey, although I hear he's involved, implicated on some sort of list. I don't know to what extent, and I'm, a lot of people are on it, and just like we reached out to him and they said no, but it's like, yeah, their name is still on there though. But I'm hoping he's fine. But
did you see Jon Stewart's segment about his name being on it?
Yeah, that was great.
Jon Stewart,
Russ Wilson.
Oh, Russell Wilson's was great.
His response, I'm like, he handled that about as good as could be expected to handle that.
Yeah. I mean,
just an immediate no, I did not. It's like, good. It's fair enough. I believe him.
And that's everyone else is kind of keeping their mouth shut about it, but that's a bummer.
Chad, what have you been up to?
The other day, I watched a documentary on Netflix called The Boys of 80.
80 or a like AD, the number, like the letters, or AD, like the number?
The number. It's about the 1980 Olympic
when I went
hockey
to
USA.
Both those, I fucked them all up, and I was like, I don't think I'm saying it either.
Yeah, is it like AD, the numbers? And I'm like, no.
It's a new documentary with the Olympics coming up that Netflix produced and put out last week, I think. It was a really good documentary. I've of course I've seen the movie, and I know now that a lot of the things in the movie didn't happen, or are not full retellings of what happened. But the documentary was more player driven, where the movie is more coach driven, which I thought was a good change. But that whole time period of the Cold War is honestly kind of fascinating because it's, as they say in the documentary, it's the coldest of the Cold War, and it, like it's just unbelievable that these college kids were able to beat this professional team. So that's highly recommended by me.
What's it on? You said Netflix.
Netflix, yeah.
Netflix. I'll check it out.
What about you, Josh? What do you?
I started doing a rewatch of probably my top 2 favorite TV shows ever. Both of them are limited series, both written and directed by Mike Flanagan. I watched first The Haunting of Hill House all the way through, and I am on the finale of Midnight Mass. Midnight Mass is my favorite. Yeah, I know, Chad, you're not a big horror guy, and Brennan, I don't think you've seen him. Flanagan is incredible at telling intense dramas set like mixed into a horror setting. Haunting of Hill House is what seems to be a standard haunted house show, except the real story is about the Crane family and the drama between like the siblings, their estranged father after the mysterious death of their mother at Hill House. And oh my gosh, this show, it's a show I like to throw on and say I'm going to put it in the background, and then I end up glued to the TV. And it is
Hill House
one
is
of
the
the
name of
most,
the house they live in.
yeah. It was an old like manor owned by the Hill House, and they moved in to like flip it essentially. And
If your house has a
shenanigans
name,
ensue.
if your
What?
house has a name, if your house has a name and someone in your family's died, it was someone else in the house. Like it's murder 101.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, that one is incredible. It brings me to tears at multiple points. I think it's one of the best pieces of horror media ever. But Midnight Mass, however, is I don't even want to spoil it because I'm going to try to convince you guys to watch it someday. It's the slightest bit horror. It's more of just like a intense, like, what the fuck is going on kind of thing. It is outstanding. It's just amazing. Flanagan is a master of what he does.
What's it called
His
again?
dialogue, Midnight Mass, all on Netflix. Yeah, he is known for these monologues that a lot of people sometimes have issue with, and they're like, nobody talks like that. And it's like, right, but I'm watching a TV show. I'm fine if they talk like they're in a fucking TV show. That doesn't bother me.
Have you met people? No one communicates anything.
Yeah. But also what he does is he's great at one shots. We talked about the one shot in Goodfellas. One of my favorite episodes of TV of all time is episode 6 of Haunting of Hill House, which starts with an 18-minute one shot, which involves jumping back and forth between a flashback of the younger children and the adult children. They built this insane set that connects both eras into one thing. It was so good. They put out a mini documentary on the making.
I was like, you're like one take cut up into 7 different scenes.
No. Yeah, they put out a little documentary on the episode because of how intense it was and the tricks they had to go through to get it done. And another thing that he does that I really enjoy is he regularly uses the same cast. So his core cast is cycled through all of his shows, playing pretty different roles in each one. One of them that appears in both of these is the kid from E.T. who played Elliot as an adult, which is just fun. I just like that. But yeah, it's great. He is one of the best. He wrote Clayface, the new DC movie coming out next year, and I am so pumped for that. Give me a horror Flanagan project set in the Batman universe. Like, yeah, fuck yeah. Just put it in my veins. So yeah, I've been on dipping back into the Flaniverse for a little while. Big fan.
Chad, what was the name of yours again?
I think the official title is Miracle The Boys of 80, but I just call it by The Boys of 80 because Miracle's the movie.
Okay.
Avoid the confusion.
Yeah.
I feel like this had nothing to do with Russia at all. Like, I want to play some hockey. So that brings us to the film of the week, which I'll admit, I think in hindsight, after watching some things, I think I might have mistakenly said not. I was wrong when I said don't watch the extended version. The extended version does actually seem to have some. Nothing's key, and it's not like it's a parody, biopic, so it's not like anything's key, but it's a little more than just crude extra comedy. But either way, both are great. Great versions. I just think after watching,
I watched the extended version.
I had a feeling you did, but I wasn't going to say anything.
That's excellent. Because
I realized I was like, mine was 2 hours long, and I just looked it up, and this is an hour and 40 minutes. So yeah, I guess I watched.
So you like I've watched. I feel like I've watched the. It's like when I've watched them both. I've watched both, but never knew which one I was watching. So it's like sometimes like I know I've seen them both. In hindsight, the normal version, it just moves a little quicker than it should. Than it should. Like I think the extended version kind of slows it down to. Maybe it doesn't need to be that long because it's a comedy, but I think it works. There's enough. There's enough good jokes in there. But yeah, that brings it, to talk about it. I guess it's one of my favorite movies. It's one of my favorite comedies. I wouldn't say it started off like that. I always enjoyed it, but it's one of those where it's like, the more I think about like what are some of my favorite movies, every time I find myself quoting that one more often than not. I find myself enjoying it every time I go back to it. I could, I feel like I started writing down notes, and I was like, I'm not even writing down notes really. I'm just writing down lines I enjoy.
That's me for Fantastic Mr. Fox, yeah.
Let's
say the name of the movie, because I don't think we've done it yet, have we?
I'm not sure. Walk Hard.
I'm like, if anybody is unfortunately listening to this, they're like, just fucking tell me what it is.
It's in the title though, so it's
in the title.
That's true.
They clicked on it, but yeah, no, it's the Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story with John C. Reilly. Like I said, it starts. So it parodies more than just these two movies, but I feel like it parodies these two the most, which is the movie Ray and the movie Walk the Line. When it starts off with him and his brother, who's supposed to be more talented than he is, doing all these incredibly dangerous activities. Like they're trying to catch rattlesnakes and playing chicken with a horse and a tractor. Oddly, you'd think when they were sword fighting with the machetes, that considering that the machetes were sheathed, oddly was one of the more safer activities that they were doing among all the activities that they showed. But I just love when the mom's trying to be like, it's not his fault. He cut him in half with the machete.
Which, really quick, just to throw out, Margot Martindale, always a delight to see in any. Big fan of her. And she was great in this, in her limited role, but still, just really good.
I will say the one they kept doing, they did the joke at the beginning, and then it felt like they were trying to repeat the joke later on, but like it didn't land anymore, which was how old he was versus how old he looked. In the beginning, they clarify he's my 14-year-old son.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the movie, he's like, I am 71 years old. I was like, well, you look 71 though. Like you it
would have been better if they kept him out of, because they put the old makeup on him.
Yeah.
When he was young, they didn't do anything. And then when he's old, they did something. And it's like, no, you should have just let him be exactly the same the whole way through.
Yeah.
And just have everyone else around him age. That's great. But
no, I think that would have worked a little better. I agree with that. He learned to, instead of losing his sight, he lost his sense of smell. And, don't worry, Mama, I learned to play by ear. Talk about to play the guitar. There's so many good lines. You know, when he goes to Bobby Shad and the Bad Men, and he starts doing the act like the black voice. You know, he starts trying to do like an accent or whatever, and they all stop and they're it's I love this movie. And then those those Jews run show business. Your performance has shaken my belief in the Jewish people. It's one of my favorite lines. But I feel like I just keep talking about this. I'm just gonna start quoting the whole movie in order.
Again, that's exactly what I did last week, so it's totally fine.
Jack White playing Elvis is wonderful. You know,
yeah, a lot of fun cameos. It would have been fun to watch this at a point where they weren't to the level of overexposure they were now, but the Beatles, you know, Paul Rudd, Jack Black, I forgot who the other two were offhand.
They are now. I think
people I knew.
Was there ever a time when they weren't?
I mean, maybe not, and especially here, they might have actually been in like the peak of their powers, coming off their most popular stuff. But yeah, it was just like almost took me out of it, the fact that they were there. But you know, still fun, not like the end of the world or anything.
Yeah, I love the. I feel like there's a rift between the Beatles. No, I think it's just a fun movie. All the different drugs he has, you know, he runs into them doing, you know, it's the cheapest drug there is. The you know, up until he doesn't take the final one.
Yeah.
I love it when he marries Jenna Fisher, and then his wife comes in, and he's like, I didn't do anything wrong. It's not like we're not married. I got like he got her on a technicality. No, you can't be married to two people. No, I know. But you said you had that dream where you were licking my balls. I kind of knew that was a sign. Like, I honestly, I will say this: I, on a consistent basis, non or unironically, listen to the soundtrack.
Yeah, the soundtrack was great.
You know, he does the actual singing. I don't believe that's Jenna Fisher. I wish that was Jenna Fisher.
No, it's not.
You know, that would, you know.
I think it would have been fine if they did that and she was a bad singer still. Like, that's still fine.
I feel like maybe maybe didn't expect him to be as good of a singer. And they were like, oh, shit, he actually, you know.
Can I brief pivot off that? Why does John C. Reilly not lead more movies?
I don't know. Especially
like, he has a couple like duos, but even like, you know, you could argue Step Brothers. It's like, no, Will Ferrell's like the main one. John C. Reilly is like part 2, but it feels kind of 1A, 1B. And that's probably just because name value, they knew Will Ferrell was the bigger name. But like, John C. Reilly is really good in this. And I tend to like him everywhere I see him. And it's this kind of showed he could carry a movie. It's not like he can't live up to it.
No, I agree. I agree. I think I think when I'm going back thinking about all the stuff he was in, he's always kind of playing a side or kind of supporting actor. This his I kind of wonder, is this his only lead?
He's had a couple other leads.
Let me pull up some of his movies so I can take a look. Let's see.
But even like a lot of the ones where he's the lead, Stan and Ollie, he plays Hardy.
Well, I guess he was the lead in Ralph Breaks the Internet.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Not that you know, voice acting doesn't.
Oh, you know what? I forgot. Here, Winning Time. Which you could, you know, that's
Winning Time.
Oh, you haven't seen that? I think you'd like that one. I think you'd like that one a lot. They do a really good job, you know, with set and costume design to put you in like, what's it, the 70s, I think it is, to kind of put you in the era. He does a great job. He plays what's his name, Bus. He plays the new owner of the Lakers. The guy's buying the Lakers, and then it starts with him buying the Lakers and drafting Magic Johnson. And they do a great job showing the basketball, having a young Larry Bird, and a young Magic Johnson. It's one of those where it's like I get so into it that like I just like this is them. This is who I equate the people to in real life. Like that's that's exactly what Larry Bird looked and sounded like. And he might as well have been him. But no, I think you'd like that one. What else was he in? I'm trying to think of anything that I have seen. Was he was in Guardians of the Galaxy? Who was he in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, he played one of the Nova Corps members. Very small role. He was in it for maybe 2 minutes.
Okay. But no, I thought, like I said, I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the all the different eras that he goes through. What do your parents think about my protest songs, Mr. Time Magazine? Like when no one ever asked Bob Dylan why you sound so much like Dewey Cox. No, they do such a good job. They talk about, I've seen a bunch of video essays talk about how it does such a wonderful job parodying biopics. Like biopics really haven't changed the formula up even now, all these years later. With Walk Hard.
I was actually going to comment. I think this did a really good job, obviously, at like pointing out the worst parts of biopics, and I'm glad that we have kind of moved away from that. Because, like, A Complete Unknown, for example, and even like the Bruce Springsteen movie that just Deliver Us from Nowhere. I like that we're moving away from we have to tell the whole story of this person's life and cram it in. I think it's much more interesting to, like, for A Complete Unknown. Yeah, I just want to see the point in Bob's life leading up to the Newport Folk Festival where he went electric. That's all I need to see. That's awesome. I'd rather focus on these specific events, and I think that's a good way to do it. Because, yeah, this movie really did hit on a lot of, like, all I could think about when I was watching and enjoying this was how much I fucking hate Bohemian Rhapsody. And that's largely why, because it's all of the worst parts of what this movie's pointing out, they did, but like 10 years later. So there's less excuse.
There's really no excuse for. I mean, the thing is though, too. What was I gonna say? Shit, I'm blanking on it. What I was about to say. What I was gonna say was, I feel like the change that we're seeing these last few years is more due to people's reaction to Bohemian Rhapsody than it is to Walk Hard. Obviously, all those years later, but. Yeah, it reminds me of the Tupac biopic.
I didn't watch. I heard it was just so bad.
Yeah, it was. So, like, I am never really been, as much as I'm into movies, I've never really followed like the development of a movie. I've never followed a movie from like, oh, what's in production? Oh, they find an actor, they're filming, they're blah blah blah. It's going to be out here. You got to find in this thing. I've never really done that, except for I've done that for like 2 movies. And I've hated both of them.
Which two? The Tupac movie and
the Tupac movie, and the other one was it wasn't like I just happened upon it when I was like looking up, when I was trying to keep up on like when his album was coming out. Eminem had produced a movie, and I don't know how much he was involved, but he was a producer on this movie called I want to say it was called Bodied. It was like a rap battle movie, and there was some cool, like, in terms of like production value, in terms of like when they do the battle, there was like, like they put the word, like they did what they did, like I think they did like the words on screen, or they do visuals or whatever, and there was something cool about that. But there was like, it was like that was the pitch, and then they're like, well, what's the story? And they're like, it's a story. Well, that's not important. We'll figure out a story. Certainly,
yeah, Body 2017. It's got a good rating.
I don't. When I watched it in theaters, I remember just being like, it just has, I don't really understand what his goal is. I guess the main characters. It's kind of all that it didn't really seem like when he makes decisions. Like he at one point like kind of like turns on someone, and it isn't really clear why the fuck he did that. Like I don't know. But anyway. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to enjoy it. But it was still that movie is still better than the Tupac movie. The Tupac movie was like the person I was with. I kept turning to them. I kept being like, "Do you want to leave?" And they were only there because I wanted to see the movie. Like they weren't interested in the movie, and like, "No, we can stay." I was like, "I'm not enjoying
This isn't for you.
I'm not
This is not me being kind to you. This is a selfish question I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm like, it just was like when I think about that movie, it's like I wouldn't even if they had done honestly when I think about the 2 hour biopic, if they had just done what Walk Hard had done, I would have enjoyed it. But it was like that, but if we did that poorly. It was it just really felt like so those 10 things that happened to Tupac? Here's 10 scenes of those 10 things happening to Tupac in order of when they happened. I didn't really think, I never really focused much on the sound. The music didn't sound like, like when they were in certain areas didn't sound right. Some of the sets, like they'd be on a balcony and it was like, you could tell that it was like the city was cardboard behind them. It wasn't like, it's one of those things too, where it wasn't even like a so bad it's good. That's a real shame, is when you're just bad.
Well, I'll say so to talk about a movie I hate, we've already talked about Bohemian Rhapsody. That did something almost worse where I walked out of that movie. I went in college late. We went to like a 10:30 show with a big group of friends who I love Queen. My friends I was with love Queen. I think most people love Queen. That's sort of like a baseline. They're
maybe not that one hockey player.
True.
Like Queen.
But I walked out of that movie being like, wow, that was great. I had such a good time with it. And over the next couple weeks, and I went to watch it again, and I was like, oh, wait a minute. This sucks. I just really like Queen's music. And they played so much of it that I was like, I'm having a good time because I'm listening to some of these amazing songs. And then like seeing clips of the scenes where there's no music, it's like, oh no, this is unbearable. And then it got nominated for Best Picture. Gross.
Yeah, that's. What are your thoughts on it, Chad?
On Walk Hard, I try not to have expectations when going into movies, but this one kind of let me down a little bit. I was expecting a little bit more depth than like it was just like inch deep. There wasn't no kind of. I was kind of more looking for Hollywood to also make fun of themselves here a little bit for making biopics like that. But I didn't feel like that kind of came across. It was just like, I don't know. The jokes were funny, but there was like no substance.
Something missing for you.
Yeah,
I can understand that. I definitely think, especially around this time, I feel like a lot of the comedies didn't really have a. That's why I always say I love the movie The Nice Guy so much, because it's like a comedy that you're like, I give a shit what's happening too.
Yep.
Yeah.
This is a story that I'm actually interested and concerned about. That I'm like, well, I want to see how it goes. Whereas
and when
most
things happen in the story that doesn't go the character's way, it like you're genuinely like, fuck.
Yeah.
Right.
Damn. Where so often you're just like, like it's usually like, it's like the third act isn't anything. It's just, they might have to get emotional like at the last minute, and it's always forced, So yeah, no, I definitely can understand that one.
Kind of to Chad's point there, I feel like this is a movie that if you, and I liked it, if you were to watch it in like, oh, I saw it over the course of a week via 2-minute clips on TikTok. You could get the same out of it that you could sitting and just watching it. But that said, I don't think it necessarily was like Chad, like the thing you had an issue with. I don't think it was really trying to do anything beyond just like, hey, let's make fun of these movies and be funny while we do it. And I do think it succeeded at that.
Yeah. I think it succeeded for what it was going for, but I was like, I kind of wanted it to go for more.
I get that.
I can see what you mean. I guess when I would tell people about this movie, I kind of, and the other movie I kind of describe it in the same way, is this in MacGruber, which it's just a real good dumb movie. You know, it's just a good dumb comedy. But I definitely can understand wanting maybe a little more. Maybe you would have gotten maybe that little bit more with the extended version.
True.
That extra fine. I don't know. I do think there's a few things. It feels like it doesn't. Watching the other version, the theatrical version, it does feel like it kind of blows past things really quickly. I think the extended version kind of sits with him being depressed a little longer. But you're not going to get there's not 20 minutes of a lot of depth there. It's not. Yeah. You didn't miss some harrowing performance in those 20. Well, there's actually 20
some
minutes,
laughs, but not fix the problem you have with it.
there was 20 minutes where he went full Daniel Day-Lewis. Yeah. In hindsight, we probably should put that. Yeah. But I can get that.
One thing I'll say I really enjoyed was that Jenna Fisher should have been a bigger movie star.
Yeah,
I thought she was great.
Yeah. No,
hold on. Let's see. You keep talking.
No, she is fantastic in this. In this one. Now I'm looking up also what she was in.
Same. That's what I'm doing. It's like not enough.
She was in Blades of Glory. She was in the Hall Pass. Around this time, she was doing a few things. I guess she was in the new Mean Girls, but I didn't see that.
Well, that's Chad's pick for next week, so you're gonna have to.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
No.
I was just saying. I mean, I love the original Mean Girls.
Yeah, everybody does.
Yeah, we've all seen it.
The Brother Sullivan. The Brother Sullivan is one I would love to go back and rewatch. Although at the same time, it's like what Josh and I talked about was just like, am I just remembering it? And I liked it. There's a joke in the Brother Sullivan where it opens up with like his their father dies, they get called to the hospital. He's sick. He just came in or whatever. So they rush to the hospital, but on the way to the hospital, they realize that they have a movie to Blockbuster that like basically needs to be returned. Otherwise, it's going to be a late fee. So they go to return it, and then they also get stuck trying to pick a movie at Blockbuster, a new one. So they get to the hospital, and the father's died, and he's like, and the doctor just keeps saying to them, "I can't stress enough. If you were here even a minute earlier, you would have been able to talk to him."
That's awesome.
Yeah, but I forgot she was in Blades of Glory. That one is another one I feel like I keep seeing. I've seen a few things pop back up on TikTok recently. Them doing the one move they try to pull off, the
Never seen Blades of Glory.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
You haven't seen Blades of Glory? I was really into Will Ferrell when I was in high school. Will Ferrell had a great run when I was in middle school and high school. And so I think that was like when I was in. That was 2007, so I was in 7th grade then. Now I'm just looking at her stuff. I'm just going to say, in Hall Pass, I went to see Hall Pass. When I went to see it in theaters, the power went out, kind of. And
kind of? Hold on, what?
In terms of just the screen went out, but the sound stayed on.
So then the power didn't go out. The projector turned off.
Well, call it what you will. Power did stop for something. and well, I mean, it felt
Power
like,
went out and I had to change my light bulb, dude. That
well,
sucks.
to be fair, the power going out, it felt like the power went out because the only source of light that there was had suddenly gone out now. So when I think back, it feels like anyway. So it went out at the time in the movie where Jason Sudeikis goes out to his car to masturbate in his car. So it was literally pitch dark, just the audio of him masturbating. Anyway, great movie. No. The best time in the theater I've ever had. But
It's part of the movie, but the whole time I couldn't tell if they were saying Paw Cox or Paul Cox. I was like, which one is it? And then I had to go and look up the cast after, and I was like, oh, okay,
it's Paul.
yeah.
It's a Paul. Let's keep going.
I was just gonna say another, like I mentioned, the actress who played the mom. I'm always happy to see. Tim Meadows, man,
Yeah.
is just so good. He was in the newest season of Peacemaker, and he was just as good in that. He is so funny. His delivery and his timing on everything is like just top notch.
I absolutely love him in, I mean, everything he does, but like in Ladies Man, or The Ladies Man, I absolutely love that character of him. Like the lisp that he has, it's some of the best, some of my favorite delivery. You know, when he's when Will Ferrell's trying to wrestle him and oil him up. Lance, you're clearly gay, and that's cool. But you were trying to oil me up a little bit ago, and that's not cool, baby. No, Tim Meadows is fantastic. You never once paid for drugs, not once.
That running bit of "you don't want to mess with this stuff, Dewey,"
Yeah,
and then describes like the best thing, and it reminds me of Chad. Have you seen the new Naked Gun?
No, I kind of want to watch that, but I haven't seen it.
Well, then I won't spoil the joke. Maybe take off your headphones for 2 seconds so I can say this joke that relates. When Liam Neeson is like, "Don't throw your life away for 5 minutes of the greatest feeling you'll ever feel in your life."
Yeah. No, honestly, the Naked Gun one, it was one that I was like, to me, I feel like the first act, I feel like it started off a little slow, and then the second act, really I feel like for me at least, once they got to the
without spoiling it.
I was not going to spoil it. No, you see this in the commercials. Once they got to the silhouette gag, like
Okay.
from then on, I was like, they got the rhythm now, because it was like, I mean, not to say there wasn't great humor beforehand, but it felt a little choppier. But my one issue, honestly, with that film is how it looks. And I understand what they're doing, which is they want to try to make it look like an action film because the contrast of the humor and whatnot. But I feel like the look of the other one, just looks a little cleaner, a little brighter, and I feel like it works a little more. I feel like for the humor, because I feel like they almost had it look so much like an action movie that it almost made the humor stand out, not the way it was meant to. I don't know.
I can see that.
It was a good one.
I think it did a really good job at something that's tough to do, and they really it's a fine line between we want to reference the original and do similar jokes that pay homage to it, and we're just doing the same jokes from the first one. And I think this did a really good job, but there was a lot of setups where it's like, oh, they're doing this gag, and then they'd turn a different direction and switch up the gag that you thought was coming.
Yeah,
and
it also helped
really
in
well
terms of doing a comedy, because comedy is I feel like the ones that when they try to do sequels are tough enough, but when they try to do a sequel 20 years later, it doesn't seem like it works out. But this one, I feel like what they benefited from was, as much as and I love Leslie Nielsen, but was just having someone different. Instead of just you see in the same characters try to do the same thing. It was at least you could get away with, I guess, more changes in that regard. But no, I enjoyed that one as well. In terms of the Walk Hard, I don't really know. Anything I say is just going to be me just quoting lines from it, really. So it was just for me, I think it's just a fun movie. I listen to the music to this day. I sing the music, and people don't know what I'm saying. I love the Little People song. You know, your big day. And it's funny though, is it's kind of sad. That your big day will come when they remake the Wizard of Oz, or you'd think Snow White, but not if Peter Dinklage has anything to say about it.
I love the the fact that every other acting little person is like, hey, how about fuck Peter Dinklage? It's like, yeah, okay.
I mean,
Fair
like,
enough.
especially when you think it's like how many. It's like there aren't even that many. I'm sure, at least that I know of, there aren't that many well-known little person actors. So like they could have easily found like enough. Like they probably had enough parts for everyone.
Yeah.
They could have had the whole industry rolling in it.
Not everyone is going to go do Game of Thrones, Peter. That's not an opportunity available for everybody.
Yeah, not everyone gets to phone it, do 4 seasons and then phone it in for 4 years after that.
It's fine when he does it in Elf, but if anyone else does it.
Whose turn is it to actually pick a movie? Is it Chad's turn to pick a movie, or is it?
Yes, Chad
It
is
is
up
my turn.
next.
Chad, do you have a movie in mind?
So
announced for next week's movie.
I have a list, and this is gonna be a little bit of a choose your own adventure.
Okay.
So the first movie is, I'm not gonna give you the names of the movies, but I'm gonna describe them a little bit, and then you guys can pick which one. So the first one is a movie that best describes my taste in movies. The second one is also a musical. It's not a musical, but there's music in it.
I know what that one is. Keep going.
It's not it's not a musical, but there's music in it.
I guess the third one's just a really good movie I watched last year. Then one of my favorite movies and a really good rom-com that I don't think either of you have seen.
I picked Sing Street.
Fuck you.
What's it called? What's it called?
Sing Street.
Sing Street?
Yeah.
I was going to say, actually, I want to hear what the first one is.
That's actually my vote. I just needed to show you that I knew which one the second one was.
Sing Street. Let me look up that real quick.
I'm crossing that one off the list now.
26.
We're never going to watch that one.
So what is the one that you say most describes your taste in movies?
Do you agree with that one, Brennan?
Yeah, no, I'm down for that. That's the one.
All right, Licorice Pizza.
I feel like I've heard that one before.
That's been on my list for a while, so that is nice. I'll be able to cross that one off. It's PTA.
Yeah, that one's also been on my. I wanted to watch that one. Okay, now I'm excited. Now I'm curious what the what is the third though? What's the third movie?
The third one was Saturday Night. The one about the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Oh no, that's a good movie. I enjoyed that one. I enjoyed that one. But yeah, no, Licorice Pizza. Do you want to tell us anything about Licorice Pizza before? Anything we should know before going in, or the less we know, the better? Paul Thomas Anderson. So I'm excited about that. What did I just? Oh, was it? He just did. He did one. I'll say I just saw one of his little flicks. Which reminds me, I still need to also see Punch Drunk Love.
Same.
I've seen when I was in film school, we we had to, I think we did a few examples of scenes from it I forget for which class, but I remember then I was like, I should watch this, and I didn't then, but I will one day this year.
Ched, you had a interesting reaction when he said "Punch Drunk Love."
I watched about 40 minutes of it, and I was like, "What's going on?" I don't know, because I was like, "That's the Adam Sandler one, right?"
Yeah, the plot is like something where it's like it's got something to do with pudding or something to do with
yeah. So
or with something, I don't know. It seems like it's Adam Sandler trying to control his rage.
yes, he's got like anger management issues, and
No, you're thinking of the movie Anger Management.
that's a theme.
Yep.
It's been probably maybe 3 or 4 years since I've watched that 40 minutes, but I was just like, I
I thought the response was based off like how have you not seen Punch Drunk Love yet?
No,
That's what I thought too. I'm
And
like, it's either how have you not seen it, or I hate that movie.
I wouldn't even say I hate it. I was just like, I don't know.
Punch Drunk. I would find it interesting that this is your reaction, considering it's just a Paul Thomas Anderson film, and if one Paul Thomas Anderson film means so much to you, I would, maybe not expect such contrast.
I don't know.
Is there? I say this without seeing the first 40 minutes. Or did you watch the first 40, or was it the last 40?
It was the first 40.
That makes more sense. That's a good way to start the film.
It's a good way to watch a movie, yeah. Start from the beginning.
I was gonna say, like, if you started with the last 40, I'd be like, I think I found your problem.
He just picked 40 in the middle.
Yeah. What the hell's happening here? Which I don't know if I ever told the show, which is a great show if you've not seen it. Silicon Valley.
I've watched all of that. Yeah.
So I made the mistake of when I watched it, I watched season 2, episode 1, season 1, episode 2, and then the rest of season 1. And not knowing, I didn't realize it. I thought I was watching the first episode the first time. So then I watched season 2 after I finished season 1, and I realized, oh shit, I've never seen the pilot.
So then did you go back and watch the pilot and be like...
Eventually, but the thing is, the same issues repeat all the time, so it really didn't change anything.
No, it doesn't.
The only confusion I had was what happened to the lawyer character, because he disappears. But the problem's the same, so it doesn't really make I don't know.
The middle out discussion that leads to the big breakthrough in that show is one of the hardest I've ever laughed.
Yeah,
it is so funny.
When they're interviewing him after, not what's his name, not Ehrlich, when they're interviewing Ehrlich afterwards, and he's like, well, let me ask you this: do you know how long it would take you to jerk off every man in this audience? Because I do.
That does, not that specifically, but talking about Silicon Valley brings up an issue I've been having in media lately. When did we turn on Kumail Nanjiani? When did, as a society, people start not liking him? I think he rules. I think he's great. And I'm not a fan of the slander that's been happening.
Well, I think it's hard, I think we have to separate, which is, it's not easy to do, but separate like the comedy fans from the Marvel Disney fans.
Yeah, I think it kind of went downhill after the Eternals, which I was like, really? That's why? But
it's like we need to separate. It's like we need to separate
better than some other stuff.
What's her name? From Suits, who's now the princess, or not a princess anymore, I guess. But you know what I'm talking about, Meghan.
Meghan Markle.
Markle. Now we need to separate the two, but we have to be aware that both suck. In their own ways, her in Suits was the worst character, and her in whatever the hell she's doing now is horrible. So separate but equally bad.
Right on.
Yeah, I always go back, and I've watched Suits a few times, and every time I watch it, I can't stand her character. I could never stand her character. And then when she became a former princess, I was like, well, good. Now that we can at least, she doesn't have to do that acting anymore. And then, God, she's still trying to do stuff. I don't know what she's doing. She's got shows or something. She can't even act like a person. It's like, we're not even asking you to do a character. Just be yourself. And maybe this is her, I guess, which is just a weird, uncomfortable person. But Suits is a decent, great first 3 seasons. If you're looking for a good 3, it's got 9 seasons, but
Okay. That was not the number I was expecting.
but the first 3 are great. 4th and 5th, good enough, not bad. It's starting to dip. They're starting to, repeat themselves too much. 6 is they kind of jump the shark a bit. 7, they bring him back in. They rein it back in a bit. And I didn't do 8 or 9. I couldn't do 8 or 9. But I tell you, they do have good. The 2 leads have great chemistry. It's worth watching just for that really alone. But Licorice Pizza. Why is it called Licorice Pizza? Is that? Do they? Let me ask you this question. This is the only thing I want to know about the film. Do they say the title in the film?
I don't remember. I don't think so.
Then I'm going to say no, because you'd remember if someone said the words.
I tell you, I almost feel like that needs to be a prerequisite for films. It's like, unless they say the full title in the film, we can't watch it. But so that's all I've got. We'll see you. I guess we'll see you guys next week
For Licorice Pizza.
for Licorice Pizza.